Good evening, people. Chris F.E. Jackson here, and this is a video just to uh, warn all Nikon P1000 users of a problem I found with somebody's camera. This camera was sent to me. It stopped working, and the lens was extended. And every time they powered it up, it just would flash. It would try to move, and it would say power off the camera. Or the batteries here were verified as fully charged, and they are now. And it's almost as if there wasn't enough power to zoink the zoom back in. But I know if you leave these type of cameras on and the voltage level drops, it will actually ensure that it shuts down before it doesn't have enough power to actually retract the lens as such. But anyway, what I found was upon looking at this, it looks this is all its guts out here. So here's the lens mechanism. Here's the CCD device. Obviously, I haven't gone through a video of how to actually take this apart. It was a bit involved, and it requires some desoldering. It requires this PCB here to be desoldered along these points here. I'm sure you can see that. Probably not. So it's along here. It's about 10 connections, which actually sit to the main board, which is, if I can see it somewhere, um, in the inside. It goes on to the. Oh, I don't know what I've done with it now. Somewhere it's there, and there is oh, into the body. I do beg your pardon. Into the body here. So she tucks nicely in under. Let's see if I can get this here. Tucks nicely into there. These three wires would have to be desoldered. This is to actually get the mechanism from outside of the main body. I won't push that in because I've got the cables there. And this is obviously the screen. One air to caution is the black screen down here. Sorry, the black cable for the screen. That's very susceptible. It is tagged down with a bit of tape there, but it can pull away easily, and it's a bit more weighty than the P900. So this will the cable I say is very but is a bit vulnerable. And you have to take off this insert here that sits off inside there to get to another screw which sits under here on the main body, with which you can see right in the bottom corner there. You see that little gold tab right in the bottom right hand corner. But you have to actually remove this section here from there to access the screw down here to be able to get this whole thing off. And yeah, obviously the mechanism here to actually pull off. First thing that pops out is this. That's the viewfinder for the screen, which sits onto here. Now, to get this whole mechanism off the top, what you have to do is you have to detach everything. And lastly, inside the pop-up lens, the pop-up flash, there's two screws there, and basically the whole thing comes off, and it's all in one here. So once you've done that, you can then retract the whole mechanism. Once you've detached this is where the CCD device sits inside here. That's been all nice and clean, pretty much similar to the P900, but the motor assembly is on the other side. So this is the drive, and it has a securing plate by these two screws here. So I've looked inside there; it's all pretty good condition. There's no damage to the gearing or the motor. And then obviously this could actually, three screws here you can pull off, or the CCD device, which is the most expensive part, I'd say, with the lens and the zoom. Now, just to get to, as you can see, all these parts here, it looks crazy, doesn't it? But I've kept everything nicely on a little magnet, and the beauty is that if it's I've got a little notepad where I've written down where the size of the screws are. So this shouldn't be a problem. and all these other little ancillary bits which go back in. Obviously, once you start rebuilding, it's pretty obvious where everything goes. Well, it is for me. That's obviously a bracket for the strap, which will go back in as well. All these tiny little bits and pieces here. There's the battery cover, that put that there. Little final cap, which goes onto the flash housing. And I have some new grease as well. I've got some grease, which is a special type of grease. It's a non-hydroscopic grease, which is non-absorbent for water. Be careful how much of the amount of this goes on. This is for the actual raceway inside the slide. I'm going to actually pull that out now just to show you, because I haven't got to the problem yet. Because, as I said, it was stuck out. And here's the, you can see here, there's the drive mechanism for the gear, which would turn. And so basically, as you can see, I'm going to drive it, and it comes all the way out. Be very careful with that, and it pops off. There you are. So inside there is the end lens there. I've still obviously got the cap on to protect it, and here is the drive of the lens itself, and with the slide grooves there. Now, hopefully, you're not going to be able to see this on the camera, but what I did find, which is disappointing, is that along these raceways here, there are actual deformations, and it looks to me as if where the silver guide wheels actually, as this turns into the raceways here, if I can say that, or the slide, it's actually come out to a certain point. If I put this in, let's go back this way. If it goes, so imagine you don't see this inside the camera, so what you will see is you'll actually see this. There's the camera body, so to speak. Let's say if I just do this very gently. Here's the camera body. Oh, that's come off there. That's all right. It's not a problem. There's the camera body, and it was stuck there. And basically, what I think has happened is, as the camera's been used, the weight of this actually, as it's out here. So if you imagine if the camera is sitting there like this, the weight is quite, the leverage of that on the end. It's quite it's quite a thing. And I suppose in the cold, if the temperature variations and what have you, then it almost looks to me as if there's stress fractures on here. I'm going to show you a photograph. Actually, stress fractures on there. So let's see if I can pull this up. Share screen. If I can, on this photograph here, share. You can see there, I've circled it. That's not actually one of the raceways. You can see all the sort of grease there with my fingerprints on it. And if I go to the next one, just drop that down, or you can see a bit better there on the side. We can see that this almost as if it's those silver little wheels. They're pretty static. Actually got caught here, I would say, and not enough for it to pull out. And then we'll do the next one. And let's see if I can raise that. Sorry, my keyboard's over here. Let's see if I can raise that up a bit and magnify that up. Let's see. Yeah. So you can see how I've just tried to just use an edge tool just to see if I can take any burrs off. But that really is, I think it was stuck in there. Now this looks to me as if it's almost as if it's something that was there in the plastic. This is a pretty poor show for Nikon. And one I would think that a lot more P1000s would have. And this is on all three of the raceways coming down, which would be at the extension of the drive. So yeah. So this is out of warranty, by the way, and the report back from Nikon once they were informed about this was that it actually been looked at by an unauthorized engineer. Unauthorized, well, I would say yes, I am unauthorized, but I would say that I was an independent engineer to actually strip this down and look at it. And this is what I found. So the only thing I can do is try and fill this with a very, very light resin and smooth it all back, and as best as I can. It wouldn't take a lot, to be honest with you, and I have all sorts of nice little tools which will fit in there nicely. But bit of poor show from Nikon. This must be known to them. I've looked on the internet to see if I can find any other examples of this, but no. So all you P1000 users out there, beware. But please don't contact me if it fails. If it's in warranty, send it back. So I would say that this is a weakness of the P1000K. I certainly will not be buying any Nikon products ever again if this is what they're putting out. I mean, this camera would cost in excess, well, roughly about £1,000, British pound sterling, yeah, which is a lot of money to invest for something, such as this, and money that could be well spent on other high quality products, I'm sure, from other manufacturers. But this is a Nikon P1000, and this is what it looks like after a few hours of usage, I suppose, a couple of days maybe. One where the lens has been extended for periods of time for taking zoom shots and what the like, perhaps moon shots or distant shots. And yeah, it's cracks to the plastic, or it's a stress fracture, which must, I think, in the molding of this must have been quite apparent. And yeah, it's a similar design, obviously, to the P900, although this is longer in some. So I'm just going to stop sharing that. So basically, what I have to do is to try and rework this somehow to the best of my ability and to reassemble everything and test it and soak test it as much as I can. I might take it outside this time to actually see if I can actually get the temperature change. But obviously, I'm going to use some of this special lubricant I managed to get hold of, and it's actually by Kluber Lubrication. And they use this type of stuff for vacuum grease as well, because on vacuum seals, not that I use it on my reactors, but it has certain properties which are desirable for such an application, if I may say so. So again, as I said, Nikon, pretty poor show, if I must say. Nikon, no, don't buy a P1000K. This is what you're going to get, all right? I don't care what people say. This will eventually happen. If it's happened on this one, the molding for this is pretty much similar. So it could either been the quality of the plastic they were using at the time this was manufactured, but the fact they wouldn't entertain even to have it back, to put their hands up to say, yes, that's a deformation which should not happen in normal usage. Yeah? Okay, so if it only happened on one side, I could say that it had been knocked or it had been stressed, but no, to have it on 3 points, I think is a pretty poor show. Okay, so with that in mind, I shall leave it there and I shall start to put it all back together again. And yeah, it keeps me out of trouble, and it looks like it's getting me into trouble as well. So damned if I do, damned if I don't. So that is in essence, people just wanted to get this out there to let you know what's happening about the P1000K camera. Super duper 110 to 25 times optical zoom. I wouldn't even bother. Okay, don't bother buying one of these. Stick to the 900 or the 950. But then again, you may end up over a longer period of time experiencing the same problems with a 950 or 900. So, uh, stay away from Nikon. I think I will from now on. I don't think I'll buy another Nikon product simply because of the fact they have this. And they have this on such an expensive flagship model that's recently come out. Goodness knows what other rubbish they're building as well. So, with that, I shall leave it. And please feel free to comment, any which way you like. I don't care whether it's good or bad. I'm just the messenger, okay? So, leave it there, peeps, and I might just do another video when it's all back together again and the zoom function is working and it resets lovely. Okay, so I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.